Stevia is actually a plant originally discovered in Paraguay about 2,000 years ago by the Guarani Indians. It grew along the edges of the rainforest. When they first discovered it, they used it originally for its medicinal properties as well as its sweetening properties. And so they were the first to have the popular herbal beverage now called yerba mate, and they used stevia to sweeten it to make it taste really good. So yerba mate with stevia became a very, very nutritious natural beverage from the rainforests of Paraguay. That's kind of the history of it. A leaf itself is about 30 times sweeter than sugar, so it's just delicious to the taste. I first learned about stevia in 1982 from a Peace Corps worker who had just returned from Paraguay, where he had been serving as a Peace Corps worker. He brought some stevia leaves with him. He first tried to convince me of other rainforest leaves that he said would cure various diseases and so forth, and I didn't believe him because my previous 15 years have been involved in regular medicine, and I thought herbs were quackery. Eventually, they coaxed me until I finally put a stevia leaf in my mouth. And once you put it in your mouth and you taste that sweet, delicious flavor, it's not hard to imagine there's got to be a potential for this leaf. And of course, that time, everybody was beginning to look for a natural sweetener that was not harmful to the human body. Actually, before the evening was over, because he had some of the Japanese scientific documents with him, which I read, and so I gave him my life savings to go back to Paraguay and send me stevia leaves, because I really thought that I could find someone with money or a company that would see the potential of these leaves. Unfortunately, I was several years too soon, a few decades too soon. Nobody was really interested in it. It was just too new, too different. But he sent me the leaves. I tried them, gave them away to several people, and just asked them what they thought. And of course, everyone thought they were wonderful and wanted more. So I went to Paraguay to learn about stevia, to see the leaves growing themselves in the field, to make sure that they hadn't been dipped in something else. Since the most ancient Guarani name for them is Caerate, which means leaf like honey, I was afraid maybe they dipped them in something. But I went out into the field and picked stevia leaves, and they were just wonderful. And so then I met with the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Commerce for the country of Paraguay. Learned more about it, met with farmers, convinced them to grow stevia again. They had really given up because there was no market anywhere, and our FDA really wasn't allowing stevia to be brought into the United States and sold as a sweetener. So anyway, I convinced them if they would grow stevia for me, I would buy it. And I actually had to set up a little company in Paraguay, sent people out into the rainforest, the local people, to harvest the various medicinal herbs for me. And then we blended stevia into them to make it sweet and delicious, and I began marketing that in the United States under the brand name Wisdom of the Ancients. And that was the very beginning. By 1993, I really kind of decided it was time Americans had the right to use stevia. So I went back to Washington and met with John McCain and John Kyle and Dennis DeConcini, who was then an Arizona senator, and several other congressmen, showed them the science research on stevia and how safe it was and how good it was for the human body. They agreed. And so they wrote letters on my behalf to the FDA asking them to reverse their position. Of course, the FDA didn't, and said, no, congressmen do not tell us what to do. So the next year, 1994, is when Congress passed what is called the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act, which allowed herbs and stevia to be marketed to the public as dietary supplements. So then we could produce these various products, then as dietary supplements. And we, of course, were the leading company in that field at the time and continued to market stevia products as dietary supplements until 2007. That's when Coca-Cola and Cargill Company announced that they were going to bring stevia to the United States and be the first to have it approved as a sweetener. Then Pepsi and Marisont, the makers of aspartame products, said, no, we're going to be the first. And immediately thereafter, a drug company said, no, we're going to have stevia as a drug because it improves the health. So it does so much for the human body. And I realized if I allowed that to happen, I'd be forced out of business, as would other small companies that had joined with me and were marketing stevia. So I hired 2 independent groups of scientists. These were former FDA GRAS scientists, meaning generally recognized as safe. That's what they did for FDA. And I went to them, hired them independently to do research on stevia and my products and to determine whether or not they could be marketed as safe sweeteners. And the FDA regulation was if independent scientists did this, then they would accept that their statements in the science. It took about a year, but on March the 5th of 2008, I received phone calls telling me that SweetLeaf Stevia was GRAS. And so we could now market it as a sweetener. And so SweetLeaf became the first stevia product in America to be marketed as a sweetener. And we have continued, of course, marketing and developing numerous products. Right now, SweetLeaf has developed more stevia products for consumers than any other company in the world. So we are the leader in the development of consumer stevia products. The reason consumers really want stevia is because they're learning that it has 0 calories, 0 carbohydrates, and the glycemic index is 0. Therefore, it is the perfect sweetener for diabetics because it will not affect their blood sugar adversely at all. Anyone who wants to lose weight or maintain body weight, this is the perfect sweetener. And in addition to that, there are probably 1,500 published scientific documents on the safety of stevia, but also its health benefits. What has been proven now, absolutely through scientific research, is that stevia, in its various components, lowers high blood sugar. If blood sugar is low, it will raise it back up towards the normal range. It lowers high blood pressure. It kills the free radicals in the body that cause problems. And interestingly, it tends to inhibit the growth of harmful bacteria in the mouth that cause tooth decay and gum disease. And the way it appears to do that is the glycosides in stevia are the sweet components. In a stevia leaf, there are about 27 different glycosides. 10 of these have been approved by the World Health Organization to be utilized in any sweetener in the marketplace anywhere in the world. These glycosides are of a chain that harmful bacteria cannot digest, but they're sweet, so the bacteria will just keep eating them until they eat themselves into starvation. So it really helps oral hygiene, and it's one of the wonderful things about it. Interestingly, the good bacteria can digest it just fine, and they thrive on it. The extraction process is really interesting, and this is one of the things that makes SweetLeaf unique. In the past, the extraction processes were developed by the Japanese using chemicals, and this was back in the 1970s, mid-70s. As other nations in the Orient, specifically China, began to also grow and do extraction, they continued using the various chemicals, including methanol and ethanol. And one of the things that I've been, I guess, literally preaching for years is water extraction. Stevia should be extracted with water. using as little ethanol as possible. Sometimes just a little bit is necessary, but as little as possible so that there's absolutely zero residue in any product. And that's because, especially methanol, is harmful for the human body. Nobody should ever ingest anything with methanol in it because the body converts methanol to formaldehyde. And then the body is not able to eliminate it, and it's known to cause serious health problems in the human body. So the manner in which the leaves are extracted, the glycosides extracted from the leaves, is critical to the benefit and the taste. If you don't use all these chemicals, you have a really nice tasting stevia, which is why SweetLeaf Stevia tastes so good. People who try these products love them. If you tried our liquid products in any beverage or even in food, it's just delicious. People prefer it to sugar once they've tried it. This product, because some people just want sugar, and in cooking sometimes you need that taste of sugar. So for those people, we have created what we call Sugar Leaf. It's a blend of sugar where we've bound the stevia glycosides right to the granule of sugar. So it's just one granule. But when a recipe calls for a cup of sugar, you'd use 1/3 of a cup of this. So you're getting 2/3 fewer calories and 2/3 fewer carbohydrates from sugar. So this becomes a product that chefs all over America are just delighted with right now because they can make any cake or candies or cookies or anything they want to make and taste just like sugar. But you've got so many fewer calories. If you use, let's see, what flavors have we got here? This is our cola flavor. Now everybody's learning that they ought not be using diet sodas, diet colas. So if you took sparkling water, carbonated water, nothing else, and put a few drops of this in it, it tastes just like cola as a soda pop, but there's nothing harmful. It's just delicious to the taste and good for the human body. And the same with our root beer flavor and grape. Vanilla makes vanilla cream soda. And the orange or the lemon is just like soda pop. Depends on what you put it into. And of course, you can also use it in just plain water. It's absolutely delicious. Interestingly, some people are telling us they're starting to add one of the flavors to their pet's drinking water. And the pet drinks more water. And of course, you're also helping the oral hygiene of the pet. What we're really delighted about is that SweetLeaf Stevia is the only stevia in the world that's winning taste awards. We've won 9 from all over the United States and Europe, including Paris, where they're saying that SweetLeaf Stevia is the best tasting stevia there is, which is wonderful to be able to have that renown for our product, because some stevias don't taste good.